Good afternoon and welcome to the January 8th, 2024, Happy New Year everyone, meeting of the Westport Board of Health. I'm calling it to order with an announcement that under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have one addition to the published agenda, but it's on my agenda for a presentation by Linda, but we'll wait on that. So we're going to go first to Matt's. We're ready. We'll put you on right now then. We're having a presentation about thyroid issues from Linda Pierce, the town nurse. Whenever you're ready, feel free to begin.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Linda Pierce, the public health nurse in town of Westport. January is Thyroid Awareness Month to prevent, treat, and cure. The thyroid gland looks like a butterfly located central on your throat and sets your body pace. The thyroid produces hormones that affect your metabolism and how fast or slow your brain, heart, muscles, liver, digestion, and bone parts of your body. Iodine is essential for your thyroid. You can get it from your diet. It loves iodine. It can be hyper, which means too much, or hypo, which means not enough. What does the thyroid symbolize? Essential aspects of human beings. Awareness is the first step in healing. It is through our throat that we express our most strength of will, ability to follow our dreams, and to share our innermost desires of the heart. It controls our body functions by producing and releasing certain hormones. The main job is to control metabolic rate, how your body processes and transforms food into your energy. Problems with the thyroid can affect your heart rate, your mood, your energy level, your bone health, and any pregnancy that you may have. Lifestyle changes, stay hydrated. For the conversion of thyroid hormones, limit processed foods and sugar. Too much sugar can harm your thyroid function. It affects mood, which includes anxiety and depression. The organ connected to the thyroid is the pituitary gland. It is no larger than a pea and is located at the base of the brain. The pituitary produces hormone thyroid stimulating that causes the cells within the function T3 and T4. Fatty foods should be avoided. It can prevent thyroid's natural ability to produce hormones. Keep your thyroid healthy. Limit vegetables. Examples of these are broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, collard, watercress, and radishes. Do not smoke or drink alcohol. Find ways to reduce stress. Exercise at least 3 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes or more, and maintain a healthy body weight. Foods to heal the thyroid include yogurt, Brazil nuts, milk, chicken, beef, fish, shellfish, bananas, and berries. Bananas contain flavonoids, antioxidants, and selenium. To detox each healthy fruit and vegetables, gluten-free whole grain, nuts, and seeds. 3 signs of thyroid disease are swelling in the neck caused by an enlarged goiter, fast and irregular heart rate, twitching and trembling, warm skin, and excessive swelling. Problems sleeping and difficulty getting back to sleep. Thyroid eyes, red, bulging, swollen, that can lead to dull vision. Thyroid problems usually start between the ages of 20 to 40 years old. Thyroid disease affects more women than men. Autoimmune natural thyroid nodules occur frequently in both pre- and postmenopausal. The blood test for diagnosing thyroid problems is called thyroid-stimulating hormone and thyroxine. Our COVID tests from December 21st, not tests, COVID positive from December 21st to today we reported 22 positive COVID. That's not count, those are just people that have gone to the doctor and actually have been tested. We still have COVID tests available in my office and upstairs in the Board of Health office. The Board of Health office is closed on Wednesdays. Our blood drive is on the 18th of January at St. John Baptist Church, 925 Main Road, in the basement. You must register online with the American Red Cross. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions, just a statement about thyroid disease. One of the things that we do in mental health is when people come into the hospital, one of the things we test for is thyroid disease because it can mimic psychiatric illness such as severe depression or even mania and psychosis.
Right, like
So-
I said, the anxiety and the depression and all that goes along with it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people poo-poo these things, but it's really important that we pay attention to all of this. If we don't take care of our bodies the best we can, we only have ourselves to blame. Anyway.
I just had one quick question. Just when you said about testing the thyroid, is that a routine? Like, is that like in an annual physical? Would you routinely get a thyroid test?
I know that my PCPs do, not because I have any problems, but they do anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's routine. And if you went in and you said, "Gee, I'm fatigued and I've got these mood swings and all this is all things that they kind of put a little question to them, and then that they may do that. I mean, I'm not sure if all of them do that. I know mine does.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know.
And if there's family history, that's one of the reasons why family history is done. I have a family history of thyroid disease, so they check my thyroid regularly because of that.
Oh.
So that also is if anybody knows someone in their family has thyroid disease, they want to inform their PCP so they can test them.
Okay, great. Thank you for the update, and look forward to the blood drive.
We're going to sit for a few minutes so that we should conserve this.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on now to the director's written report, which you have in your packets. Any questions on that? We'll be talking about the storm effects under other business. Anything you want to? I know you don't want to talk much.
I don't know if you want to read that.
You want me to read those? Okay. So a new variant of the virus that causes COVID-19 is rising to prominence in the U.S. as winter illness season approaches its peak. It's called JN1, which is another variant of the Omicron variant. JN1 will be responsible for at least half of new infections in the U.S. before January ends. So again, getting COVID a vaccine is still advised, and as are flu shots. Flu season is not over either. COVID-19 tests are available at the Board of Health office, as Linda mentioned. Barn book inspections for 2023 have been completed. The books will return to the Mass Department of Agriculture on December 27th. And on December 18th, an intense coastal storm impacted Westport. The storm produced heavy rainfall, coastal flooding, and high winds. I think everybody's either seen it in person or been down to East Beach, has seen the effects. East Beach and Atlantic Avenue were significantly impacted by the storm. There was a significant storm surge which exposed or damaged many septic and tight tanks, particularly on the south side of East Beach Road. And we'll be talking about that in a minute. The South Coast Public Health Collaborative is hosting a housing code training class on February 13th, 2024. And there are currently 40 people signed up from all across the region for that. So the collaborative has really been proactive around setting up trainings, and we thank both Matt and Olive for organizing that. Okay. Any other questions about the written report? Okay. Then we're going to move on to Director Approved Plans. I'll review those. First one is for George Morera on North Brault Street. The lot size is 208,478 square feet. This is new construction, so it is using an Advantex with a quick 4. And it is pending Concom review, so that will be a condition required. Another one for George Morera, also on North Brault Street, different lot. This is 196,107 square feet. Also using an Advantex with, in this case, a stone bed, and is through Concom. Lucille Machado at 18 George Street on a lot size of 66,034 feet. This is an upgrade for a 4-bedroom. I forgot to mention the first two new constructions are 3 bedrooms. This is a 4-bedroom using a Singulaire with a Presby, and also through Concom. So I would entertain a motion to endorse these plans with a condition for Concom on the first one.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve those 3 plans with the Concom, conditioned on Concom approval for the first one, which is map 12 lot 3E, just to be clear. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving on to other business. We have a proposal from Matt. We want to send a letter out to all East Beach property owners about the impacts on septic and tight tanks for all those summer lots. And the proposal is to require a Title V inspection prior to permitting for the season to make sure that it's safe. And that a reminder that they are required to have an O&M agreement or a plan per Title V, and that has a sample plan incorporated. It can be done by the homeowner. It doesn't have to be too formal. And then the proposal is to waive application fees relating to the repair or replacement of these tight tanks or septic systems from that storm, which would be allowed for those who apply by April 1st, 2024. Remind me, I'm trying to make you minimize your speaking, but remind me what the fees are for pulling a permit for the replacing or repairing septic or tight tanks.
Well, the application fee,
Mm-hmm.
I believe is $200.
Okay. And do we have any idea yet how many systems might be impacted? We won't know until the Title V inspections are done, I presume. There's about how many properties down there? Do we know? Anybody know offhand?
Probably just
Somewhere, I'd say between 88 and 100.
Okay. So I'll open it up for discussion. What folks think about the waiving the fee in particular. That's really the thing we need to vote on.
What is the reason to waive the fee?
To try to help them out.
To be nice?
Well, it was an unexpected storm. It
Yep.
did more damage than anybody, I think, was even forecasted. And not that if it was forecasted, they could have changed the outcome,
Right.
but still, just trying to, they have a lot of work ahead of them to get to restore the properties and however that's gonna shake out. Just trying to minimize their expense and, help them along.
I think the number of, so see if I'm right about this, I mean, I think compared to the total number of properties there, the number of people that will probably have to spend like a significant amount of money to repair is probably a pretty small percentage of them. Because those are the ones where the tanks have been exposed, so there's no cover over them. And just my own walking the site, there are not that many of them. They're certainly all on the ocean side, not on the lead side. And of those, I don't want to minimize it, but maybe like a handful or so. Some may need to have their alarms repaired or something, but, and then we are requiring all of them to get inspected. So I think it was just an accommodation, and for the ones that do have to make repairs, as Matt said, they're going to have to find suitable cover and a fair amount of that to regrade their properties and have enough depth over the tanks to protect them. So,
Of course, long-term, those properties are probably not viable, but for now.
yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think one of the things that is in the, I mean, one of the things that we're emphasizing is the requirement for all the tight tank sites for tight tanks to have an O&M plan, which requires in the event of a named storm, because that kind of gives you the warning to pump their tanks out. You know, so that you know, so that the contents of the tanks aren't kind of spilling out. So yeah, but it's a very vulnerable location. And,
well, I, you know, given the, you know, relatively narrow scope, and that these folks have, you know, challenges ahead, and it's not a huge financial impact on the town, I'm willing to consider a fee waiver.
Okay.
yeah,
But they need to apply by April 1st, so.
I understand it's supported by the town administrator to do
Yes.
this. So since the revenues all go to the town administrator supports the, you know, this exception. So
Does the select board have to weigh in on it?
does
No, it's our.
no.
It's our, okay.
No, but I think it, you know,
I believe it's on their agenda too for discussion.
Okay.
I'm not sure what
Yeah.
kind of support they provide, but
yeah, but
beyond ours.
I don't think we would be subject to criticism from the people who have a checkbook, so to speak, too, if we did this.
Okay.
So I'd entertain a motion to waive application fees for East Beach property owners who need to submit an application for repair or replacement of septic tight tanks as a result of the storm in December, as long as they applied by April 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this temporary fee waiver. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
Paula sent me over the email proof for the owners that she gathered during the permitting process. So we're gonna get this letter out by email, and if we get any emails that come back, we'll send them out to a regular mail.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to board member updates. I'll start this time with Donna,
I have nothing to update you on.
except for you had COVID over the holidays, and we are sorry about it.
Yes, and I took a risk and went to New York City before Christmas, which is one of the most crowded places to be at Christmas. So, but I've survived it, and I got every vaccine, and I think that I minimized my symptoms by doing that, so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're back on your feet,
Yes.
and we hope Phil stays on his feet tomorrow
Yes.
for his skiing adventure, but updates?
Yeah, no, nothing, well, I could say, you know, that as we know, you know, the Bank 5 initiative to reach out to the cesspool owners and give them information regarding to the mass housing loan availability, extremely favorable interest rates. So I think they are at the point that they're going to initiate that. So hopefully that for people who haven't been made aware of it, that will be good news for them. And other than that, I could tell you about my holiday fun I had, but other than that.
That, I received in the email, what Bank 5 is going to be sending out. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
they wrote it, you
Yeah,
know. I mean,
But thank you for helping
Yeah.
to
yeah, and
move that
so we
forward.
tried
That's
to-
another, you know, it's another resource for homeowners who have to upgrade their cesspools. The interest rate can vary from as low as 0 to 2.5% for income eligible, and so that's a really good deal.
Right.
And it's just helping to promote that is another way to help Westport homeowners,
Right.
so we appreciate
So
that.
it's just, I might add, because it always strikes, is that if you qualify for a 0% loan, you don't even have to pay back the principal during the period of time that you own the property. It's only when you sell it that the principal of the loan has to be repaid. So it really is.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, that's the deal. That's the deal for, you know, so that is, you know, very advantageous.
Yeah, and I believe this also, it's not just limited to cesspools, although they're doing,
Right.
targeting
Right,
cesspool
right,
owners
right.
because of the timeline, but if you have a failed septic system and qualify,
Right, and he
that's-
felt, right,
yeah, so
Mhm.
that's something
yeah.
we should, I think we have information, do we have information on the website about the general mass housing loan program? I think we do.
I think we do. We
Yeah.
update
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, just to say, once town meeting rolls around and if the article we're proposing passes, the money in the Fund 20 is gonna be gone in an instant.
Yeah.
So this will be really helpful.
yep.
yeah.
Yep, okay, great. Okay, I have one update, which is about the short-term rental regulation. There is a public hearing tomorrow night during the planning board meeting. It's, I believe it's 6:30 PM. As you know, it's been there was a subcommittee or a committee formed to review that. I was a member of that, representing the Board of Health, along with Zoning Board of Appeals and Planning Board. The group came up with a proposed amendment to the bylaws to allow short-term rentals where they are currently not allowed, which is in residential agricultural districts, but with a permitting process, which ended up being one that would be was proposed to be by the Board of Health, because doing it through the Zoning Board of Appeals or Planning Board is very expensive and time-consuming and cumbersome, and given the number of short-term rentals we believe are in town, that would be infeasible. Proposal was for the Board of Health to take that on. However, it looks, and we'll wait and see what happens, what the Planning Board decides, but if that's not something that we can absorb with existing resources, and I think we've been informed that there's no possibility of adding staff to support up to 400 permits. Reviews, they would have to have site visits to do bedroom checks and septic system and water checks and so on. So I'm not sure where the planning board is going to go with that. The planning board did have a planning session and sort of tweaked the proposal from the committee, but that was before there was information from the town administration about resource constraints. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, but that hearing is tomorrow night if people are interested. It would go to town meeting if it proceeded, and if it was adopted at town meeting, then we would have a job to develop a regulation and a process for permitting. But it looks like it's not. I'm guessing it may not proceed this year. So I will report at our next meeting what the outcome of that was. Okay, we have. Is Mr. Potter coming in?
Yes, you see the,
I have a question for Matt
A couple of
about the future wellness event that we're supposed to be planning. I know there's a meeting I don't know if it's next week or the week after, with the nurses from the different towns in the or the people from the collaborative in the different towns. So do we have, I know we were looking for possibly May to do it. Do you think that we're going to be able to get that accomplished in May?
So I put Olive in charge of getting this together. You have a meeting coming up, as long as you guys can come up with the committee, which is the public health nurses, yourself, all involved, as long as you guys can come up and get a game plan together, the grant will support you on the other end to make it happen. But if we don't start, I guess, coming up with ideas of where and what and people, the longer it goes, the harder it's gonna get to pull together.
Yeah, so I'm just proposing that may not be the time that we do it.
So it would have to be, if we want to use FY24's grant money, it'd have to be sometime before June 30th.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're into FY25.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay. I believe we have 2 minutes to go. Any other topics for the next regular meeting? I should have mentioned one more update. I am going to meet with Ben Gilman, who had the presentation about the proposed plastics ban in town, to help him strategize how to move forward. We said, now it may be we would be more willing to entertain it if short-term rentals are not on the agenda this town meeting, but I'll have that discussion and bring it back if we want to proceed. His proposal was for the town to ban plastic bags and polystyrene, styrofoam takeout containers and so on. So we were supportive of that. I had just suggested that this town meeting, given all the zoning changes and so on, that it was sort of, it would be adding a burden to the town meeting that might make it more difficult to adopt. So we'll see. We'll know more about short-term rentals shortly, and then if there's some movement to move it forward. Also, I wanted Tim to sort of take the ball and kind of really build community support for it. So I'm going to give him some advice about that. But if anybody else has input and wants to, pass that along to him, feel free to do that as well. Okay, I think I've chewed up enough time. It is exactly 4:30. I'm going to call the 4:30 variance hearing. This is a formal variance for 194 East Beach Road. Derek Reese is the property owner, represented by Len Potter. This is a 2-bedroom repair using a quick 4 with a Singulair 960 DN denitrifying system on a 10,715 square foot lot. And Mr. Potter, you can start and outline the variances.
Len Potter, Westport Environmental. This is the letter, copy of the letter I sent to the abutters.
Okay.
4 abutters. Okay, this is a proposed septic system to replace it was a drainage pit they had, and they had an outhouse years ago, but it was a 2-bedroom. It's going to be a 2-bedroom. And what we have here is to install a denitrification tank, Singulair, and run it into a quick 4 2-bedroom septic system. The past pergola faucet sand, the water table wasn't too bad, it was 73 inches. So we ended up being 5 feet above that, and everything laid out pretty good. I did check the well, and the well was 100 feet from both Featherston and Reese's own well point. I had to lay that system out, stake it out, and then double check it in the field, and it checks out 100 feet.
Okay, so
it's an oddball shaped field, and that's the reason for it.
Okay, so it does not cross that corner.
No.
Okay, so we can update the plan. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and the reason also that we're here, of course, is because of the necessary variances. 310 CMR 15.213, paragraph 1, septic tank cannot be raised above the flood zone. And what we have to do is we have to show the reason why we can't raise it. As existing pre-331.95 home, as the code says, is being renovated per building regulations in flood zone, it will not be raised. So the house isn't going to be raised. So to raise that above the flood zone, which is 23, it's the elevation of the property is a 9, so you'd be 14 feet up in the air. And that's not going to be done because the house is not going to be raised. So that's the one variance that we're asking. The second variance is that the proposed leaching field is to service a pre-331.95 home with no increase in flow. And I think it's common knowledge that the house was there before 1995. The town records all show the home being there. Well, that's where we are with that. So the only two variances we need are those two. That's pretty much it. We are in a velocity zone, but it's allowed under as a repair. And we provided the single layer to give added treatment. The conservation has a lot to do with this. I think to go along with the system, but there's a lot of other things that need to be addressed.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions from the board.
Well, I think, I support the concept of the plan. I think that what we concluded at the last time that we discussed this was that this wasn't kind of a local upgrade approval type of waiver variance. It was, the larger variance, which requires equivalent environmental protection and manifest injustice. I think based on the fact that the house isn't being raised and just the whole context in achieving an improvement in going from an outhouse to a denitrifying system in order to allow the house to be occupied, I think is, kind of meets at least, one of those standards. What I had been discussing with Matt was that in terms of equivalent environmental protection, that one way to try to address that would be similar to what we are proposing to do with tie tanks, to require them to be pumped out in the event of a named storm, and similarly, to do something similar with the unnamed storms. And so I have some language about that I could propose that we could discuss to try to get to that, because ultimately I think what the regulation is trying to do is to prevent wastewater that's contained in tanks to get blown out during a storm, and to keep it above the storm surge. So I think that it's impractical to, as Mr. Potter said, to under these conditions, to kind of raising the septic tank 14 feet in the air. But I do think we can minimize the potential for what that elevation is to achieve if we can, remove in those limited circumstances, to have the tank pumped out. So that's a condition that I would propose in addition to the standard conditions that we would have under these circumstances.
Okay. All right. Donna, any comment or questions yourself?
No, I knew there was a question of distance, but that was clarified, that it's 100 feet, so. No.
Okay, I do have a question. You had made the argument that there was an existing outhouse, which is what allowed this. Is that in that shed, the
No.
outhouse?
The outhouse. The outhouse was back in this southeast corner of the lot. Across Grove Street, directly across, is Bill Curtis. Bill Curtis built the property Mrs. Featherston at 118 lives in now.
Mm-hmm.
And he had pictures of that outhouse when he lived there. And he sent me a picture a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I'm just, what I'm wanting to confirm is the outhouse has been removed
It's
or
gone.
will be removed. Okay, I just,
Technically, I wish he hadn't, but when he bought the property, he knocked it down.
okay,
And otherwise, I could say, open the door and say, here's the out. I can't do that. He
Right.
knocked it long before me.
okay, I just, that's what I thought, but I
Yeah.
wanted to confirm.
No, yeah.
Because we would make that a condition of
No.
removal. Okay, so I have, well, this is subject to Concom
Absolutely.
filing and approval. There would be a 2-bedroom deed restriction, all of course, the IA paperwork, including
Yes.
O&M, and he's aware of all that.
Yes, the
Okay.
IA paperwork, if he gets what he wants from conservation, I'll file the order of conditions and the IA at the same time.
Okay.
And deed restriction?
And deed restriction, yes.
Okay. And I was gonna suggest 2 times per year total nitrogen testing, but if the well is, both wells are more than 100 feet, this is a remedial situation, we don't always require it. That's something the board to consider. And the pumping out, as you suggest. So I didn't have any other questions. So do you feel
Yeah, so I could-
make a motion?
Sure. I'll leave it. Well, so I would move to approve the plan for Derek Reese at 194 East Beach Road, a 2-bedroom repair on a plan dated, I was getting my plan dates wrong, but I was 12/7/23, subject to Concom approval, a 2-bedroom deed restriction, submission all of the appropriate DEP documentation for the denitrification system, a hold harmless agreement. I'm going to leave it to, I don't feel strongly about the 2 years of well testing. I don't, pump out of the septic tank in advance of a named storm or an unnamed storms likely to repeatedly expose the tank to damage from storm surge or flooding.
Okay, I'm thinking that perhaps, is there a way, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, just how to, definitively trigger, yes, you have to pump out or not. Is that something that we should just have the
Well,
Board of Health?
Yeah, well, I had in
Identify.
kind of parens because I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I think for named storms, I think it's pretty standard because everyone is notified of those because it becomes aware. It's like one of these storms.
Yeah.
So I was going to put in, per the second part, per notice or order by the board.
Yeah,
So if we
I
looked
think-
at the weather and thought this is likely to happen, and if if we get caught by surprise, well, we're caught by surprise. Everyone's caught by surprise. If we knew from the direction of the storm and the wind velocity of the storm, that this was likely to, create significant storm surge over East Beach, then, we could contact Mr. Reese and ask him to do it. I just didn't, so we could add that if you wanted to. I try to leave it.
I think just to be, because otherwise he's sort of left hanging.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine. I didn't want to, I mean, for this individual, it's not that big a burden to do. It would, like, if we were going to do something similar for the rest of the East, like if we were trying now to address, not globally, but for everybody on East Beach, the necessity to notify them for an unnamed storm, that puts a fairly big burden on.
We have the email list, so.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm fine doing it for
Mr.
Mr.
Reese.
Reese.
Okay, so let's include
Per notice
that.
or order by the board.
I'll get you his email address.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just add it to the,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
so that motion has been made. Is there a
Did you
second?
name the variances?
Oh, yes, sorry, and
Oh,
the variances.
are there variances?
Yes.
Yes, in the letter.
Oh, okay.
Approval of the variances.
Oh, right, okay. Well, okay, and approval for the variance from 310 CMR 15213, one regarding elevating the septic tank, and 15213 2A regarding location of the SAS in a velocity zone.
Okay. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the project for Derek Reese at 194 East Beach Road with those conditions. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Potter.
Thank you.
Did you get a copy of the abutter notice? Did we get the green cards?
I didn't hand it
I
to me.
didn't do it.
Okay,
no.
okay, sorry. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure I turned the abutters letter into the office, but
I
Oh,
thought you did it already.
I thought maybe you did that.
Yeah.
well, let me send it down to Matt.
It's so long ago, I can't remember.
All right, good night, Mr. Potter, thank you. Okay, we have then, the next variance hearing for 9 Greenwood Avenue, Jermaine Baker, 3-bedroom repair from a cesspool to a quick bore with a microfast on an 8,750, square foot lot. The engineer has requested a continuance to,
January 22nd at 4:30 p.m.
Okay.
So move to continue the variance hearing for 9 Greenwood Avenue to January 22nd at 4:30.
Second.
all in favor? Aye, that's unanimous. There being no other business?
I move that we adjourn this meeting at 4:45 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.